Clearly stated, you've enumerated lofty ideology to which your union stands for.
Okay.
Comrade President, you're talking about protection of workers
Yep.
as one of your ideology. We've come to the notion that a lot of civil servants seems to have this challenge of differential wages. Are you looking into that perspective? You know, some complaints have been laid that some in the parastatals are earning more far better wages than the ones in the ministry. What do you have to say
Thank you
about
very
it?
much. It's unfortunate that the government allows this. Yes, I use the word unfortunate in the sense that I see no reason why somebody who works in the Ministry of, for example, Ministry of Health,
Yeah,
will be handling less than somebody that work with maybe Security and Printing
commission.
Commission. The question is, why the difference? Why the difference? So in this case, we have taken it through the GNC to the head of service,
Okay.
and the committee has been set up to harmonize all salaries,
Oh, beautiful.
and that all salaries should be harmonized. That as much as you are a public servant under the federal government, so no reason why somebody in level 1 in ministry A should be earning less or higher than a level 1 in one of the parastatals. You see, I think the major reason why this is happening is because if you look at the parastatals, the head of service of the federation office does not cover completely the agencies.
Yeah.
Like now, if you look at let's take a look at agency like maybe let's look at these
There are agencies even directly under
maybe
the
agency
presidency.
for adults and education. And there's some agencies like you said that's directly under presidency,
Yeah.
where they have their own votes and they'll be paying higher. No. The question is, are we not the same public servants? So since the head of service has decided to take the bull by the horn to address this issue,
Yeah.
so we're only waiting for our committee to submit the report and see how we can harmonize all these things. Not that we're against them,
Yeah.
because it's like people are not getting it right. That the question, if I work in Wuse Zone 6 in the Ministry of Health,
Yes.
and you work in Agency for Adult Education in the same Wuse Zone 6,
Yeah.
we're doing the same job for the same government, then why must you hand more than I do? And we're the same cadre, the same level. Except for professionals. You know, and let me say this. Before now,
Yeah.
if you're a professional, for example, if you're a nurse, your basic salary should be, if I'm a level 7, you're level 7, the same step, we should hand the same basic salary.
That's true.
What should be the difference should be our peculiarity allowance, which we call the professional allowances. Yes, she's a nurse, surely she would definitely be entitled to what we call maybe night duty allowances,
Yeah.
maybe
Risk allowances.
risk allowances, hazard allowances, and some other peculiar allowances.
That's true.
Which I don't do. For example, I work 8 to 4 I work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. unless maybe I have something to do. Ordinarily, I don't work in the night. I'm not a nurse that will go to work by 8 p.m.
Yeah.
and stay
Stay over.
overnight. Yes. So basic should be the same. When we have same basic, then allowances can be different.
So as you have tabled the issue of awaiting the head of service on our intervention, some will ask, Comrade President, if the head of service comes up with no intervention,
Yes,
what would be the way forward?
Yeah, if head of service doesn't want to come with any intervention, we won't have set up the committee, because she also agreed with us that no, that there should be a basis. It's just like, I'll give an example. It's just like, okay, all of us, we are workers. Something should be basic. Okay, our salary should be basic. But the major problem we had was, as at now in Nigeria, do you know we have 2 different salary structure? There's what we called harmonized civil service salary structure, and there's one we called this one they call it sorry, I've forgotten, harmonized civil service structure and composed one. The composed one is done in such a way that your rent allowance, your housing allowance, your basic, everything is
in one.
Yes, they call it consolidated salary structure. Has been consolidated. Why some are on harmonized. But the better one is harmonized. If you are on harmonized, it will show, your pay slip will show how much is your basic salary, how much is your rent allowance, how much is your meal subsidy, how much is your risk responsibility. All those things will show.
Yeah.
So if you and I are on the same level, but different cadre, good. Our basic should be the same. Our rent should be the same.
Okay.
Our housing should be the same. What should be different should be allowances peculiar to each of the cadres. Maybe you're an engineer, I'm an administrator.
That's it.
That's how it should be. So,
I think
and the
the issues have that.
HOS has given us his word. Our
Okay.
word that, don't worry, we'll do something about it.
Okay, going a bit deeper into this conversation, Comrade President. You've heard of the Oronsanye report.
Oronsanye report.
Yes, that affects a lot of civil servants. Are you taking that that report in view?
Well, personally, I have a very deep fear for this Oronsanye report. Don't forget, this is a report that was not done by this administration. This is a report that was done by Oronsanye, a former head of civil service of the Federation.
Okay.
Our fear, which the government has allayed, but we're not sitting on that, is that nobody will lose his or her job for this. Because the Oronsanye report involves merging some departments, ministries, and agencies. And our fear as labor leaders is when you are trying to merge ministries and department agencies, then the question is, what happens to the workers? Like if you are merging a relevant ministry, like Code of Conduct Bureau and the other ones that do similar job, the question is, what happens? But the government has said, okay, it's not going to affect workers. They will redistribute the worker in such a way to make. But funny enough, again, just yesterday, while they are trying to merge, they were also creating. Just yesterday,
that's the contradiction I wanted to bring in.
Yes, just yesterday they created the Minister of Livestock.
Like appropriating and appropriating.
They are appropriating and reappropriating. So the question is, the government is even confused. They are confused because each agencies, each ministries that were created have reason for creating them.
Yeah.
Now you gave a direct order to the head of civil of the Federation to implement, and part of the Oronsanye implementation is to match some MDAs. Now you are also creating another MDAs. Because I'm sure Minister of Livestock will be created out of Minister of Agriculture.
That's true.
So the question is, what is happening? So I think...
So there are fears about these reports.
Yeah, there are fears.
Implementing this report.
Sure, there are fears. About the fears has been allayed by them. But we're not relying on that statement that nothing will happen to the workers. Because it's our major job. Our sole job is to make sure our workers are protected.
So the next question would be, Comrade President.
Yeah.
Is the NCSU carrying out advocacy?
Sure, we're doing that.
And tell that these reports, if implemented, will affect our union.
Sure.
And our members.
Yes, we are doing that because, like I said, in our federal council, all the ministries, department and agency of federal government, NCSU has at least 6% as officials of the union that reports directly to the federal council who reports to them. And we have our lines of communication where we have told them, if you see any sign, please let us know so that we can rush. In government, one thing is funny. It's better you disallow them from doing it. By the time you allow them to do it, and you are now trying to fight, it's like you are just doing what I would call a postmortem. But why don't you avoid it by stopping them? I don't know if you are getting me.
Yes.
Like, for example, the only thing government did without carrying labor along has boomeranged, and that is removing subsidy.
Sure.
The first thing this government did was
we're coming to that issue
remove
later.
subsidy.
Yeah.
Now, the fact remains that they are still paying the same subsidy. So, what did they actually remove? So, that's confusion.
Like going around the clock.
Yeah.
Well, Comrade President, the issues are many, so I won't want us to dwell on a lot on. Well, going forward, Comrade President, do you think the challenges facing workers as of now is an issue because you had a major union of the working people, which is the NCSU? Do you think that the challenge of government to paying fair wages of workers is actually the lack of fund? Or
no, I won't call it a lack of fund. I call it a mispriority of allocating funds. Okay. I'll give you an example. Okay, let's look at the one that just happened yesterday. Why must we create Ministry of Livestock? Why don't we find a way of making sure that the Department of Livestock in the Ministry of Agriculture is well functional? Because when you are creating the Ministry of Livestock, you are talking of a new minister, a new permanent secretary, a new director of human resources, a new director of this, a new director
logistics
of that.
Also to work.
And these ministries will be located in almost all the states. You can imagine. That's number one. Number two, look at the statement of the number three citizen, the Senate president, last month, when they were proposing to buy a new jet for the
Yeah.
president. Before they even brought it, he said they would buy it. Even if Nigeria will have to die or make sacrifice.
That's quite
I
unfortunate.
mean, we have about 2, 3 planes in the fleet of the presidency. What are they doing with it? Why must we go for a new one? Look at the report. Even it's in the budget that they want to use over 4 billion naira to renovate a house for the vice president. How much will it cost to build a house when you're renovating with over 4 billion naira?
Sincere.
So these are the loopholes we are talking about. Are you? I don't know if you are getting.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, you see a minister having like 20 PAs on over 1 million naira salaries. What are they doing with them? So these are facts. You see, if government decides to cut his
Cost.
overhead cost,
Yeah.
reduce the overhead cost, and then reduce over bloating way of doing things, government can consecutively pay. Okay, I'll give an example. Last year July,
Okay.
after the removing subsidy, the government came out that they are saving about 1 trillion naira every month.
Yeah, it was in the domain, public
The question
domain.
is, what have you done with the money? Let them come and account for the money. They cannot account.
So-
Because if 1 trillion naira is saved, it means from the sharing formula of the federation, 51% goes to federal government, which means federal government will get like 510 billion naira. What have they done with it? Extra 510 billion naira every month. Don't forget this subsidy they are claiming. They are the one paying it.
Yes.
Because if fuel is sold for between 150 and 200 before then. Now, fuel is being sold for, let me say, 600 naira officially. That means for every fuel a citizen buy, the government make 400 naira. And I don't need to tell you the number of fuel we consume every month. So what are they doing with the money?
Quite unfortunate.
So the question is, if the government is now saying they don't have cash, or they don't there's no fund, the question is, what have you done with the fund? They came out themselves and told the whole world that they now save over close to 1 trillion naira every month after the fuel subsidy. Then where have you channeled the money into?
It's quite unfortunate, like I said, Comrade President. But looking at it, you receive direct reports of civil servants around the country,
Yeah.
on first-hand basis. Would we say civil servants are a bit comfortable at the moment?
I will say yes, I won't say no. I'll give you analysis and then you answer the question. Number one, let's look at, I don't want to talk about level 1 officer now.
Yeah.
Let's look at the middle officer on level 8. As a graduate, you will be employed to on level 8 step 2. The salary of level 8 step 2 as at now is just around 75,000 naira, or at most 80,000 naira. In Abuja, definitely cannot live inside Abuja.
Yeah.
Maybe he lives in Maraba or Nyanya, outskirts of Abuja, in Nasarawa.
Because of the rent.
I'll do analysis. Let's even assume he's not married. He's a single person. He doesn't have family. He doesn't have any dependents.
Yeah.
It will take him 1,500 naira daily to come to
Work.
1,500 to go back. That's 3,000 naira. There are 20 working days in a month. 3,000 multiplied by 20, that's 60,000 naira. Let's assume he's living in his father's house that he inherited.
Yeah.
He's not paying rent, which we know is not possible.
It's not possible.
Then let's look at food. Let me borrow the analysis of the Community President of NLC, Comrade Ajero.
Yeah.
Let him live like a poor person. 500 naira food in the morning,
meat.
500 naira food in the afternoon, 5 in the evening. That's 1,500.
Yeah.
At least it will hit for 30 days.
That's true.
1,500 multiplied by 30. Do you need anybody to, with 1,500 multiplied by 30, we are talking about 45,000 naira. 45,000 naira with that 60,000 for transport.
That's over
That's over
100.
100.
Yes.
More over and above
100.
100. So how can a man survive?
Just on food.
Can that person be comfortable? And we are talking of somebody who is not paying rent to. We are talking of somebody who is
You
not buying
remove
clothes.
some
We are
essentials.
talking of somebody who doesn't have any dependent, who is not even married.
Yeah.
And I tell you, how can somebody be comfortable? So the idea of will he be comfortable is definitely no.
You justify the whole section. There's daunting hardship amongst workers. And
In fact, all workers in this country are now the set of downtroddens, the least, the most, the poorest of the poor.
yeah. And this has brought to an argument, Comrade President, that enslaving workers could lead to further depreciation in productivity. Do you seem to agree with that?
Not that I seem to agree with that. I completely agree with it. What leads to depression? Frustration. What kind of frustration? If you cannot put food, as a family man, if you cannot put food on the table, if you cannot put, as a man, it's your duty to put food on the table and put shelter over your children. And if you cannot do it, frustration will set in. When frustration sets in, how can you be productive at work? Maybe you get to work around 9 o'clock. The teacher of your
It's calling for school fees.
The teacher of your school fees called you. You are sending your daughter back home because you cannot pay school fees.
Yeah.
Can you concentrate? If you cannot concentrate, would there be any productivity? So one way or the other, the thing is like a cycle. And when you are not productive, it affects the system.
It affects the
and when
system.
the system is affected, it affects the government and everybody. So you cannot give what you don't have, and you cannot give what you don't have the mind to do.
That's right.
That is why these days, when you look at some people, some students who attend public schools and some who attend private schools, some of us who attended public school then, we used to go to school, we come back by 10 a.m. to come and eat, just because our schools is very close to our house.
Yeah.
But can you do it now?
So, corporate president, if you put on the table with the president of the nation to provide solution to welfare workers,
Yes.
what would that be?
I don't have to face workers generally. I have to do 3 things. And that will definitely affect not only the workers, but the entire country. 1, you must provide security. 2, you must provide employment. Then 3, there must be transparencies. There must be transparency. Okay, look at something. Something happened. And I was sorry for this country. There was a time, live over the year, the Senate President, who is the chairman of the legislature, says, my fellow, I have sent something to your account for your weekends.
Brought life.
Brought life. That is sent to the account is enough to provide jobs for people. Look at it today. If I become president today, we have to protect the small-scale industry. Just last week, Dangote was crying that his multi-billion naira petrochemical is dying because government is not protecting it enough. The OPEC is trying to squeeze in. So if small-scale industries are encouraged, okay, as a businessman, you are giving loan to somebody at 33% interest. How can that person survive?
That's very outrageous.
You must encourage. You see, when you encourage all these multinationals,
yes,
they will not bring people from their country to come and work here. I thought they can bring maybe 2 or 3 expatriates. They will have to look for somebody.
Yeah.
Now Michelin has left Nigeria. Dunlop has left Nigeria. This multinational is trying to leave. I've forgotten the name. And if that company leaves, over 200,000 jobs will be lost. I mean direct job. I'm not talking of indirect job.
That's pathetic.
So if jobs are, if there are good jobs, if people are employed, issue of security will not.
Sure, because people are meaningfully engaged.
Let me ask a question. You saw cattle rustlers, kidnappers. Do you think a lazy man can kidnap?
No.
It takes somebody who's intelligent to kidnap and to be calling people, and they won't be able to track that call. So a foolish person cannot do it. Some of them are graduates. Since they cannot feed, they resorted into that. But if job has been provided, you won't think. You see, there's this saying that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. But if you are engaged, you go to work in the 8 in the morning, you are engaged throughout, you close by 5, you get home, you play with your children, you sleep, you are doing that day out, and your children are happy. You won't think about thinking of, let me go and steal self.
But
do you know why people steal in the offices? Because of the fear of unknown. Somebody will work for 35 years. You will have to beg before he can get part of his gratuity. In the process, some people died. And so when they see their organs dying, and they are saying, they say, let me help myself. But I'm just telling you, we are human.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, if things are done, okay, imagine somebody who worked for government for 35 years. His active years, because our active years is between the age of 20 and 60. And you work for government. Our one is even better. I've never seen a scenario where the people who protect the sovereignty of this country, militaries, came to protest after they retired that they couldn't get their.
That's true.
How can you be a military man and do other job?
It's a
Because
pathetic
they are
situation.
they are radicalized in the barracks. So okay, they believe that at the end of a tunnel there'll be a light. What is the light? That is what we call gratuity and pension that will take them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if I become a president, I will tackle the issue of employment, issue of insecurity, and protecting the small scale industry. If all these things are done, definitely it will definitely protect the workers. Because I don't have to think about workers alone. We have to think generally.
well, Comrade President, you're dissecting the issues, and we're getting to
Thank
a
you.
roundabout.